Here's what's coming up on today's show.
I'll go back to 2008. I know people that said I can't retire because all the money went away, and that's kind of the way it was. So prepare for the unexpected, and that means to do a good, solid financial plan and stay with the program.
Welcome to the How Money Works podcast with Craig and Jennifer Moser of Maestro Wealth Advisors, serving you throughout the Triad of North Carolina for more than 30 years.
Well, we're gonna do a weird one today to kick things off. We haven't had a lot of rain this month. We haven't had a lot of rain this summer, really. A couple times here and there when it has, it's gotten a pretty decent downpour, but been a little bit on the dry side. And so we're going to do some financial planning with Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark.
Because eventually it will rain.
Eventually it will rain, and hopefully a lot. But there actually is some interesting little concepts here where we could do some financial lessons. So, Craig, you're going to have to put your thinking cap on, buddy.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with the first one here, which is basically just expecting the unexpected. Look, when Noah was building the ark, it wasn't raining yet, right? So It hadn't rained, right? So now, granted, he got the info from a pretty reliable source.
Exactly.
that rain was coming, but still, it was an unprecedented event. And if you think about people dealing with the unexpected on their financial or retirement journey, that happens a lot, right? I mean, the unexpected will come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, so let's kind of take right now. When you look at what's happening right now in the stock market,
sure.
Most everybody has fear of missing out. It's like, why didn't I buy NVIDIA? Why didn't this stuff? And so things are just rocking. They're just rolling along. And so we've had a lot of up in the market. It seems a little overextended. And now everybody's starting to get excited. But you also need to make sure that you have done the other things to additionally be defensive. So I like when things go up. I like seeing green in the accounts. It makes me feel great. It really does. But in the back of your head, you've got to be saying it can't keep going like this. So what do you do if it goes the other way? Now, I'm not in the camp that says we stay invested 100% of the time and ride the wave up and also take the wave down where it crashes. I like that.
The wave, using wave with this analogy. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what it is. I mean, right now the wave is up. And it's fun, it's exciting, but just be aware that if you don't also have things built into your accounts to not let you go all the way back down, that's all that happened. I mean, think about 2021. It was a weird year. The market went up like crazy right after the COVID thing, and it was amazing. And then 2022, it gave it all back.
Right.
So you're like, wow, that's kind of not good. And then we had 2023, another wave. And now we're in the middle of 2024, maybe the third quarter, something like that. And we're saying, okay, does this thing go on forever? So,
well, especially with this election coming, everyone's really worried of what's going to happen.
Who knows? I mean, that's the truth of it. I mean, I hear everything. People talk to me all the time, and some people are very upset. Some people are mad. Some people are indifferent.
Right.
But they want to know what's going to happen after the election. What's the market going to do?
Early next year, first quarter. Right. Yeah.
But let's talk about what's happened, because history, it may not repeat, but it has a lot of things that have happened.
It
before.
often rhymes. I think that was my
So
point.
Jennifer and I were sitting in the chairs when 9/11 happened. Her brother was in the Pentagon. We're sitting there doing work, and then somebody comes to our office and says, turn the TV on. And there the Twin Towers were smoking, and we're like, what's going on here? So it's a crazy world. And something could happen again. Think about 2008. Rolling into 2008, 2005, 6, and 7 were stupid, crazy years for the real estate business. I mean, that market was going up like crazy. People were buying and selling and trading, and it was easy to do. And then it wasn't. That's my point. So having all your eggs in one basket, that's a negative. You shouldn't do that. Having things set up for safe money, having things set up for income money, and having things set up for growth money, all of that needs to be in your portfolio. It's not one thing or the other. I don't like the moderate, the aggressive, and the conservative pie chart stuff. I don't like that. I think that you need to approach it a different way. But I mean, if you look at, for example, the income piece right now, we're getting somewhere between, I'll be very conservative here, 6 to 8% in cash flow right now off of our income piece. So, okay, that's not keeping up with the stock market, is it? But there will be a day where you'll say, man, the stocks are down, and I don't like that. Do I have something other than that in my portfolio? So be prepared. Look at the future and say, I need to not only have a really good portfolio, but I've done a plan. I've looked at my financial situation. I've worked with somebody like us. We want you to work with us, but I mean, at the end of the day, you've analyzed what could happen through different lenses and said, okay, the highest probability of success, I need to do this. Now, most of what we work with are people that are in the retirement age. They're trying to get prepared. So you're like 50, 55, maybe 60 years old. You're rolling into retirement and you're going, I want to make sure I'm on track. So what we try to do there is say, look at this and get everything calibrated, lined up, whatever the word you want to use is, analyze it and make sure that you have things built the right way. And by that, I mean, not just in the stock market and rolling along, but you have a good estate plan. We had some people die this last quarter. It was
sad.
Very
it was
hard.
So sad, yeah.
Very hard for us because we love those folks. Mm-hmm. And now they're gone. And luckily, we had the estate plan in place and it went fairly smoothly. Okay, I mean, that's just the way to look at it. The other part is, do I understand what my goals for income are? Do I understand where the cash flow is going to come from? And then on top of that, how am I managing a portfolio that I'm probably going to have to take money out of? When you're working and have a check and you're not worried about it, you can be aggressive. You can be in the growth mode. But when you stop that and say, now I have to pull money out of this thing, whatever happens for returns, we'll go back to my wave. If that wave goes down and you're withdrawing from an account that is losing value at the same time, you can do a lot of damage in there. If it's a normal world, it won't be too bad. But think about times in the past.
The unexpected.
Yes.
Right.
Times in the past when things did happen. And, I'll go back to 2008. I know people that said, I can't retire because all the money went away. And that's kind of the way it was. So prepare for the unexpected, and that means to do a good, solid financial plan and stay with the program.
It's very easy, Craig, for people who don't have a plan to be whipsawed by emotion with this unexpected that happens, or even, it doesn't even have to be as dramatic as a September 11 or, a crash in the market. It's their emotion, fear of missing out, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you really need to understand what your plan is doing for you, what the different components are, and go back to that plan and believe in that plan. Talk with your advisor, talk with us, talk with whomever that you're dealing with to understand what is it doing. Is it still doing what it's supposed to do? Obviously, you can change your plan along the way, but you shouldn't change it just because you're afraid of missing out or you're afraid of losing. Mm-hmm. So you've just tuned into Craig Moser, a certified financial planner with Maestro Wealth Advisors, and me, Jennifer Moser, with Maestro Wealth Advisors. And we're talking about things that come up in financial planning and kind of using Noah's Ark as a framework of talking about different topics. So we're having fun with this. Mark, what's the next analogy that we're going to use with Noah's Ark?
Okay, so let's think about long term, right? So thinking long term, Craig, is a part of this. A lot of the stuff you were talking about, people get worried about what's happening in the now, right? Well, what's the market doing now? But you also need to be thinking about this future you. I mean, even if you're 55 or 60 years old, there's still future you waiting down, right? I mean, look, it took Noah.
Sure hope so.
Yeah, it took Noah, somewhere between 55 and 75 years to build the ark. Guy had some serious determination, right?
Right.
A little stick-to-itiveness, right? And we've got to have some stick-to-itiveness sometimes in our financial
strategy. With naysayers along the way.
With naysayers, right. You've got to have a strategy that you also can stick with. You can't just change it hopping one foot to the next, right? That doesn't help you.
Right. And I just want to bring this up. So I had a conversation with a client that we put in place different pockets of money. They're very conservative. They did not like any downside in your portfolio.
Okay.
And so Craig was trying to, build something for that client to give them some peace of mind, but still give them some growth. So obviously there's a piece that's still in the market, but then there's a piece that we used an annuity for, because that's one of the purposes of certain types of annuities is to eliminate any downside. Well, the market's been rocking pretty good. So now they're looking at their account and they're going, I think I want to, do away with this annuity. And so we talked to her and the couple, he and her, and I said, if the market had gone down, would you be having the same conversation?
Okay.
Let's think about that and why it's in place. You don't have to have a knee-jerk reaction. You go on your vacation, and we can address it when you get back, because it's not going to make really any difference, but then you have a chance to think, why was it in place? And if the market situation had been differently, would you be having this conversation? Because you still have your pieces of your plan doing what they're supposed to do, whether you've got an upside in the market or a downside. And it was built for the long term, to weather that storm and to give you that peace of mind that no matter what the market does, you're going to be okay. It's going to work.
Thank you so much for checking out the podcast today. If you have any questions about what we've discussed, remember, you can get a complimentary financial review with the team at Maestro Wealth Advisors by calling 336-448-1086 or go online to howmoneyworksradio.com for other great resources and ways to reach the team. You can also check the show notes of today's episode for our contact information as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite app so you never miss an episode. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all the most popular apps. For Craig and Jennifer Moser, I'm Mark Killian. We'll talk to you next time on the How Money Works podcast.
Craig Moser is a financial advisor and certified financial planner. Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through Avantax Affiliated Insurance Agency.